Hey guys, just want to let you know we are live, it looks like.
Excellent. Well, hello everyone to the first inaugural episode of the Rithmm Rundown, hosted by myself, Josh Applebaum, and my buddy Cade Parker. Cade, did I get your last name right? It is Cade Parker, right?
Harper. H. With an
Harper.
H. Close enough. It's okay.
Like Bryce Harper. There we
Like
go.
Bryce Harper. Not related.
Nice.
I wish.
No, that's awesome. But yeah, usually sometimes we'll let people file in, make sure they can log in. We did kind of a late promotion of this new show, and really excited to work with you, Cade. So I'll kind of just let some people filter in here. But now that we are live, I thought kind of the first thing we could do, Cade, is kind of explain a couple things. It's the first one, obviously. We do have NFL preseason going on right now. Football this Saturday. There's a couple of games, actually. One in particular, Iowa State, K-State, that I want to talk about and use to kind of teach people who are tuning in how to use Rithmm to your advantage. So very much looking forward to that. But let me start by this, Cade. Maybe you can introduce yourself. I know you crushed it last year hosting some Rithmm shows. I hosted some shows as well. But give us some background. When did you get into betting? What's your betting philosophy? And what do you love about Rithmm? And maybe things that people should know about Rithmm.
For sure. Yeah. So it's funny. I haven't really been in the betting industry that long, but I've always been a passion for sports, obviously. You've probably seen me obviously on TikTok, Instagram, X, doing all the Rithmm web shows. That was kind of my first intro to doing media in this kind of thing. But I spent 2 years as a journalist at first covering Notre Dame football, dove deep into that game, their culture, stories behind the players. As a fan of Notre Dame football, it was a dream come true. It was phenomenal. I love those people. I wish them nothing but the best, obviously. Amazing, my time there. Now I've pretty much brought that passion to Rithmm, along with my analytical edge, pretty much where I began to create content. And obviously I'm a big numbers guy. I love the trends. I love the narratives that drive smarter sports betting. And at this point, my philosophy now, even after joining Rithmm, it always has been really, but blending all the analysis with disciplined long-term thinking, finding value, and pretty much letting the data do the hard work for me and pretty much go from there. But yeah, Rithmm's been nothing but pure aid.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Kate, and I'm really excited to co-host the show with you because that's kind of my philosophy. I kind of stumbled into betting. Basically, I was kind of like you. I wanted to be a sports writer. I went to the University of Vermont. I covered the hockey team. I wanted to, work for the Bruins or the Celtics. I'm a New Englander. I live outside of Boston. And there was actually, believe it or not, a Craigslist ad. I don't even know. Kate, I'm older than you. I'm 38, man. You're a young gun. I'm like washed up and old. But there was a Craigslist posting for a forget the name of it. It was like a analytics customer service position, and it just said sports in it. So I'm like, okay,
why not?
At the time I was working in restaurants. I was 21. I'm like, hey, this is better than waiting tables. So I applied. I got the job, and it ended up being a company called Sports Insights, which was on the North Shore of Boston, and it was a data-driven analytics sports betting company. So that's where kind of I learned sports betting from the inside out. And I kind of realized that, hey, if you bet with your gut instinct, your bias, your favoritism, what you think will happen, what you want to happen, you're going to lose. You may win a couple games here or there, but you're probably going to lose because it's really hard to win if you're going to bet based on your own biases and your instincts. So that's when I was introduced to kind of the data-driven approach where, hey, focus on what the line opened at and where is it now. That's the most basic thing that can kind of just pull back a little bit of the onion and tell you some of the story. And then I kind of was introduced to contrarian betting, which is focusing on heavily bet games where everybody's betting team A. I used to be the one that said, okay, I want to be with the masses. I feel good. If everyone's on team A, I want to be on team A too.
Oh, yeah.
I realized, hey, I want to be on the other side. You want to go the other way, bet against the masses. So kind of that just kind of showed me a way to approach sports betting that I never knew before. And obviously over time, kind of refined that model. So I'm with you, Cade. And really one cool thing about Rithmm, so shout out to Megan and Brian and just, our buddy Parker for putting all this back end work together, is that kind of what I'm hearing from you, Cade, is me and you are very alike. Like if we're going to bet a game, we're not going to try to, let me take this team because they look great last week. Or, hey, I want the favorite because they're quote unquote the better team they have to cover. Or let me take the over because I want to root for points. Right. No, you kind of learn like okay, combining a market-based approach, which is what I like to do, then I use Rithmm as a cherry on top. Like if there's a game where everybody's on team A, but the line's going to team B, they're +7, they open at 7.5, they're a divisional dog, yada, yada, and then Rithmm says it should be a 5.9 spread. Boom. That's what I love in terms of Rithmm plays. So let me ask you this, Cade. When you are betting sports, one basic question is, Rithmm has obviously the player props and the game models. Do you lean player props over game bets? What's your philosophy? Because I'm kind of a stubborn, I bet mostly full game odds.
Me personally, it can sound cliche. I mean, I've been more of a game bet person, of more of a total person, and more of a money line and a spread type of guy. However, if I'm looking at a prop, and I'm seeing some like type of R betting type of deal, I might take that. Anything I can find an edge on within the props, because I feel like that's the majority of where you find your edge a lot of the time is props between most books. I think that's where I'm going to tend more so to. But in terms of like a public perception of what I do, I would say, yeah, I'm more so into the game lines and totals and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think too. And a lot of stuff that I like to do, a lot of the data that I lean on, a lot of it is featured more with game bets. So like it's a lot harder. For example, one of the basic things I look at is bet splits. Cade, you're going to get into fights on Twitter if you talk bet splits. There's going to be people who tell you they're meaningless, they're fake numbers from the books that are trying to dupe you. So I'm not here to get into a fight with anybody, but I believe in bet splits. And I'm actually also, other than a Rithmm partner, I work at VSiN, the Vegas Stats and Information Network, and they provide bet splits from both DraftKings and Circa. So bet splits to me are important. They're not the end all be all, but they're going to kind of cut through the noise, try to find the signal. And here's the key. There's a lot of bet splits out there that claim to be bet splits, but you need to know that they come from a real licensed book. So the fact that you get DraftKings and Circa, that's really meaningful to me because DraftKings is going to tell me, okay, the drunk guys at the barcade, the average Joes, who are they on? If I see 80% of tickets on one side, that validates my contrarian thought. Right. Then I go to Circa. If Circa's got 30% bets but 70% money, that's exciting to me because Circa's a book that caters to wise guys and doesn't limit or kind of outright refuse sharp bettors. They take in that money. So that's another angle that I look at. And really, again, building that case. And I try to look at Rithmm last, Cade. I don't know how you approach it. Like if you wake up and just say, and shout out to the Rithmm crew, these new power trends and stuff. The beauty of that, I guess, is what I'm saying is you can use Rithmm in a variety of different ways.
Absolutely.
You're a prop person, focus on your props. You're a game bet person, game bets. Look at it first, look at it last. There's really an endless amount of information. It's just on us as bettors to decipher that info and figure out what we want to bet.
Absolutely. I agree. I think going in between that or piggybacking off of it is, in my mind, if I'm looking in my Rithmm models, whatever that's basically saying and it's kind of agreeing with or going with, 9 times out of 10, I'm more so going with that pick that's in my model if I'm thinking the same thing already. I don't want to say if that has the opposite side, it means I'm passing. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. And there's always those cases where like, hey, everything lines up perfectly. The market-based approach is saying bet the Patriots +3.5. Rithmm says it should be a 2.1 game. Boom, we're good to go.
Right.
But there are also times where, and again, betting is not easy. It's not always going to line up perfectly. So maybe I'll give you an example. Like we can get into some games now if you want. There's one game that jumped out to me, the Hawaii game. And by the way, if you do want to give Rithmm a shot, we have a promo code for you guys. It's START25. That'll give you 25% off if you want to give Rithmm a shot. But this game really jumped out to me, Cade, and I thought maybe we could, kind of go through our styles, talk about how we use Rithmm, and then hopefully what people really want to hear is let's talk about some games and use Rithmm and kind of apply these projections and hopefully turn a profit and benefit. So the game that kind of was an example to me of a layoff or you have to decide what you want to do would be the Stanford-Hawaii game. So this is a game coming up on Saturday, week 0 of college football. It's your late game, 7:30. Cade, we don't have that like midnight Hawaii game. That's always the best because if you're having a good day, I know you can hit the last one and have an even better day. Or if you're having a terrible day, there's quote unquote, there's always that Hawaii game. But this one jumped out to me because my market-based approach, Cade, tells me to take Hawaii because what I saw here is the fact that Stanford actually opened as a favorite. Stanford opened -2.5 on the road. We've now flipped all the way to Hawaii -2.5. So that's one of my basic angles that I, have learned over time. Dog to fave line movie. Open as a dog, you flip to a favorite. That's something that always excites me. Now you're betting the worst of the number, but you're also betting with a sharp move. And anytime you see these ones, Cade, I like to money line short favorites. Like if you're playing Hawaii, -2.5. I mean, let's say, I know it's a key number of 3, but college is weird. Missed kicks, safeties. These are 18-year-olds that screw up and just crazy things happen. So I like to money line Hawaii here. That way, the current price right now on the money line, I think, is like -135. It's really not that bad. But if then I go to Rithmm and kind of see the projection here, and Kate, I'm going to have to learn also, we're going to have to bug Parker how to screen share, because just bear with us. This is our first show, so we're going to learn more how to do this. I want to show some of these models here. But for example, if I just open my Rithmm app and I go to this Hawaii game, I scroll down and find it, it's actually telling me to take Stanford +2.5. Now, the theory there is basically it's about a 1-point prediction where basically Hawaii is favored to win by 1. Now, as a money line guy, I'm okay with that because all I care on the money line is that Hawaii wins the game. But based on the points, Rithmm is telling me, and here's the other angle. When you look at some of these games, you're going to get sometimes the caution flag saying, hey, we kind of like this, but maybe there's a red flag. It's not in the sweet spot. So you always want to look for those green recommended plays. So I have 2 models, my Rithmm model and a Josh model I created, saying to take Stanford 2.5. But my core betting philosophy tells me to take money line Hawaii. So in cases like this, like I'm money lining Hawaii just because this is a wheelhouse play for me. Yeah. But Kate, how do you handle situations where maybe all the work you've done says, take this team, but then Rithmm says, no, it's the opponent. How do you deal with that?
It's hard to explain only because sometimes I am passing actually if it's enough of a big difference. Like if I'm like way off, say of my model, and I'm just like, all right, maybe that's my stop sign. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a good thing for some people. Other times, if it's something as close as this, especially in a game with a small favorite, like you're saying, I kind of go in and kind of dig deeper into the numbers of the game statistically. And players returning production, stuff like that. Because there's always these hidden gems, especially at the beginning of the year. We have no idea what these teams look like. So it's always hard betting with stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, it kind of leans me towards the pass. But in this case specifically, I leaned in Hawaii initially right from the start. So I if anything, that's kind of like a confirmation sign to me on that one.
Nice. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. And by the way, you set your own numbers. You're a true wise guy. You got your power ratings. And tell me about your model a little bit.
So I actually use some other softwares outside of Rithmm, not necessarily in terms of models and stuff like that, but just like, I guess, other insight. So like power rankings like SP Plus is available to me and stuff like that. I do use a little bit of like Action Labs and stuff like that for those of you who are familiar with that kind of software and branding. That's kind of just like bits and pieces of stuff like that. But in terms of power ratings, a lot of this stuff is kind of made public now in a way. Like if you look on any of like ESPN's articles and stuff like that, you can pretty much take half of those, put them into an Excel sheet, and then kind of go from there. It's not really rocket science at that point. A lot of it used to be kind of gatekept, I should say, but majority of it's kind of been public now. So I like to say just digging a little deeper than normal, I guess, for stuff like that is a key for research for me.
Yeah, it's a great point. And again, everyone bets differently. We're going to come to this Rithmm rundown with our philosophies, mine, Cade's. But I think the goal here is to kind of show you different ways to bet. Maybe you can pick up one little clue from me, one little clue from Cade. You kind of meld that together to create your own model. And then you're really leaning on kind of what Rithmm is telling you. So I think we're kind of in agreement where maybe Hawaii here is the play based on what we've seen. Now, let me throw one more at you, Cade. This is a game that is just getting so much attention. I think is it in Ireland? Iowa State, K-State?
It is. Farmageddon hit Dublin. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you Irish at all? I'm like, I don't know, 5% Irish. I got a little bit in my ancestry DNA.
I know when we did our thing, and it was like Dutch, it was Irish, it was Scottish. I know we have more Italian, but yeah, I don't know. I'm all of the above, apparently. Hybrid is what we call it. But
yeah, the American mutt, that's the best you can be. But yeah, this one is again getting a ton of attention for the Irish factor, for the fact that I think it's on ESPN. It's a noon kickoff. It's really the first game that anyone wants to bet on. So for that reason, a lot of the software that I'm looking at is showing that this is the most heavily bet game of Saturday for a very, very, and also I buried the lead. These are two ranked teams, two rivals. There's a lot to be excited about this game.
Yeah.
Here's the way I'm going to approach this one, Cade, and then I'll throw it at you, see what you like about this one. I'm going to take the points with Iowa State. Now, my angle here is first thing I look at, how has the market reacted? How has this line moved? A lot of these books opened Iowa State actually getting 3.5. So it was kind of like -3.5 K-State. And you're now seeing this line get down to 3. So the first thing I noticed is we got some movement, toward Iowa State in the points here. Now we do have, it's a Thursday night game Saturday. There could be buyback. Maybe it goes back to 3.5. Who knows? Maybe it gets down to 2.5. There's an element of the unknown between now and then. But the first thing I noticed is the line's gone to Iowa State 3.5 to 3. The other angle that I really like is we were talking about earlier, the contrarian mindset here. The data that I'm looking at right now from DraftKings is basically 38% of spread bets are on Iowa State. So if you flip it, nearly 2/3 of bets here are going with Kansas State.
Yeah.
So if the public, is on K-State, yet the line is going toward Iowa State, that is a just blueprint RLM play for me, reverse line movement, when the betting line goes away from the popular side toward the unpopular side. Then if you kind of compare this at Circa, it's about a 50-50 ticket split, but nearly 60% of the money is on Iowa State. And also just the factor of, and this is a little bit dangerous, don't just go on Twitter and just see what people are saying and think that that really speaks for the entire market. But I must say, I'm seeing a lot of people say that they love K-State in this matchup. So for me, I get excited to fade what everyone is saying. But also conference dog, Big 12, that's kind of like a divisional dog in football, built-in familiarity, rivalry aspect, benefits the team getting points. And it happens to be the most heavily bet game, one of the top contrarian plays. The line's going toward Iowa State. And then lastly, I'm just going to see if I can do this, because can I share my screen here? Let's see if I can do it.
I think it's at the bottom. I don't know.
Yeah, can we do this? Here we go.
There we go.
By the way, Cade, I am a terrible tech person, so it's like amazing that I was able to do that. Yeah, but here you go, the Rithmm homepage. So here we go. We're cooking, man. This is good for our first stream. Logging in, and one thing I always like to do is just refresh, make sure you're up to date here. Or am I on the right page? Hold on, let me do this one. I don't even know if I'm in the right one. I don't know. I screwed it up, man. Hold on. Anyway, we'll figure that out. I'm going to need Parker to walk me through it, because I went to the right page and it opened a new tab, and I don't know how to get to the new tab. Anyway.
Week 1, we're good.
Yeah, week 1. We'll get that figured out. But anyway, when I looked at my Rithmm models for Iowa State, K-State, it basically had, I think, Iowa State getting 2.9. So if you're getting 3.5, the other angle here is shop for the best price, because you can get a hook right now. I checked right before the show. FanDuel is offering you plus 3.5, -115. Rest of the market is mostly 3. I'm taking a shot on the dog here. I'm taking Iowa State. Rithmm is telling me it should be within a field goal. The line's moving in their favor. They're against the public. Good bet splits. What say you, my guy? What do you think about this game?
It's funny because we just did our breakdown on our podcast yesterday. I found myself actually with Kansas State -3 from ESPN. I had several angles in it. I mean, I looked at my Rithmm model. My Rithmm model actually had K-State just above 5, which I thought was kind of a lot. And then I saw the action and I was like, started backstepping. But, I'm like, you know what? It's week 1. We're in Dublin. We're going to ride it out. We're going to be fine. Did a little bit more digging, obviously. And then, I just looked into Kansas State's offense, what they've got this year, what they've got returning. I thought there was just too much for Iowa State's defense. And it should be a really good game. I'm expecting it to literally be decided in that fourth quarter. But, it's very, very skeptical given the line movement and the amount of action that's on them specifically.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing that will make this hopefully an interesting live stream. And by the way, we got people coming in here. Football guy, what's going on? Brandon Reef, my dude, Xavier. This is great. We got some wise guys here helping us out. So throw in any comments, any questions. What do you guys think of this game? Are you with me with the points in the dog? Are you bullish on Cade's model? Says it should be more like 5. Let's hear what you guys have to say. But what I meant to just mention, Cade, is like, I think when I see a lot of these, here we go. We did it. I don't know if Parker did that behind the scenes. But we were able to finally share our screen. This is good. So I just wanted to show you guys this. Go to all games. And then I clicked on Iowa State. I have my 2 models here. So this is kind of what I was mentioning. This should be what? A 3.1 game. And then the other one, I want to say was, 2.9 or something like that. But my whole point here is that, and I don't, Kate, there's a yin and the yang, kind of the good and the bad of like sports betting media, where on the one hand, like betting was, legalized pretty much. PASPA was overturned 2018. We're at 40 legal states. Sports betting and media is blowing up. But I can't tell you how many times I'll tune into a show and the guy in my chair will say, I love this team. The guy in your chair says, I love them too. And it's like, okay, like I hope they win. But I think it's more valuable and interesting when kind of hosts, overlap or disagree. You both make your case and then you allow the viewer, the listener, to decide what they want to do. So to me, I think it's great when we overlap. Obviously, there's kind of confidence in numbers, but a good part of the show is when you and I might agree a lot, but we might disagree. And we're going to kind of bring both of our cases there, allow you guys to decide what you want to do. So with that being said, Brandon Reef, a wise guy, my buddy on Twitter, love Iowa State in the points. Iowa State 5-0 last 5 versus Kansas State. Keep train going, neutral site. Love the points. Good point here. So Brandon Reef, really good point. It's a neutral site. Typically, you're going to get, it used to always be 3 points for home field. Maybe it's a little less after COVID. A lot of the data and a lot of the odds makers you talk to will kind of tell you, like NFL, it can be like 1.5 points. College, maybe a little more because they're younger and like the crowd can kind of influence you more. But maybe that's part of it, Cade, where like if your model was thinking, it's a neutral site, if it were at home for K-State, maybe then it would be a 5-6 point game.
Maybe
is that something
there.
Could that be factoring in?
A lot of it very well could be. My main majority within the neutral site argument is that one of my systems that's actually through Action Labs is a system that I run is mainly for conference championship games, because a lot of these regular season matchups, we've often seen rematches in the conference championship games, especially in these recent years after alignment and so on and so forth. But neutral site revenge spots, specifically favoring in Kansas State's, I have the overall record at 53-24. It's hitting at 33% ROI. That was one of my bigger leans towards Kansas State as well, which that's an outright win. That's not necessarily an ATS spread or anything like that, but given how short it is and I still projected above that 3 margin, that kind of gave me my second confirmation there as well. But yeah, definitely a great point either way.
Yeah, no, that's great. We got our first stream. We got Brandon Reef and all the peeps, giving us great stuff. Football guy is with you though. Football guy likes Kansas State -3.
Yeah.
Let me throw this at you too, though. When do you decide to money line a favorite -3? Because 3 is a key number. Case, obviously the margins of victory are most common 3-7 based upon the scoring of field goal, touchdown. Do you lay the 3 and say blow them out or win by 4 or more? Do you have a number in your head where like money line, if they win by 3, I don't want to push, I want to win my bet, I will pay some more juice?
Yeah.
Is that, how do you compare, like, how do you compare spread to money line and what are your barometers for that?
I think I had this conversation with somebody recently as well. To me personally, I think betting money lines, especially in short favorites in college football, is going to be way different than betting a short favorite or money line in college basketball and NBA, MLB, whatever that case may be. I might not bet a -170 in MLB because of the variety and the variables that go into that. But if I get like a -160 or -180, whatever, I might bet up to like -200s on money lines in college football if I can get it to win about half a unit or something like that. It also depends on your unit size though, because you don't want to be winning. Like I would make a difference. I don't want to lose on a couple of cents rather than gain an extra couple of units there, whatever it is your case may be. But in this case specifically, I have the best available at 155. I would take a 155 if you're worried about the spread there. to me, that's kind of I would take that. But anything higher than maybe 170, I think it's kind of where I draw the line. Maybe 165, I would say so.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'll go up to like at the most like minus 190, minus 200, but beyond that, it's like number one, and you always get this. If you were confident in them, Cade, why don't you just lay the points?
Right.
You're going to get hit by that from the Twitter peeps. But yeah, the other thing you mentioned something really important, like units, and this is something that a lot of new bettors don't really get, and it's not their fault. But bankroll management is so important, like especially if you're new to betting. You have to come up with, number one, what is your bankroll? So to me, whether you're new to betting, and a lot of people kind of feel like, oh, I know sports, therefore I'll be good at betting. I'm a fan. I understand the game. Therefore, that'll translate to me being a good bettor, when in reality, a lot of people are great fans and are very knowledgeable, actually are not great at sports betting. It's a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
But in terms of your bankroll, to me, that's your disposable money. That's your funny money, whatever you want to call it. That's the money you've set aside specifically and only for sports betting. And if you like, it can be a different number for different people, but you have to come with a number that if I lit it on fire and you lost it all, yes, it would suck, but it wouldn't make you like skip dinner tonight or like miss your car payment, something like along those lines.
Right.
And then I'll throw this at you too, Cade, because I want to kind of learn about you as a bettor as well. I'm a flat bettor, so I'm always risking one unit, and basically that's about 3% per play. So whatever your starting bankroll is, let's say you have $100, I'm risking $3 a game. Are you a flat bettor? Do you do Kelly criterion? Do you weight your plays based on confidence level where, hey, my model says I have a huge edge here, therefore I'm going to bet 2.5 units? Or, we're not going to get into the Vegas State 50 unit bombs. You never want to do that. But like, do you weight your plays based on confidence, or are you a flat bettor?
So majority of the time, and I kind of made this change kind of at the beginning of this year because of such a great year last year that we had. I am risking to win a unit in most cases. However, if like, say for what we just talked about, if I'm not going to be betting 180 to win one unit on some games like that, I might kind of dip it down to maybe like a quarter or 3/4 or half, even for some cases like that. A lot of the times, if you're betting like high like that with that much juice, obviously it can come back to bite you at any given time. And that's the rough part of this industry, I guess you could say. Something like this case, 150, kind of depends on your confidence level. And my model specifically, like I said, with projecting a little bit over 5, might be worth playing at 1.5 units there. But yeah, majority of the time I am to win 1 unit. Yes.
Okay, great. Let me throw to you. I gave you a couple games, or let me actually give you one more, and then I'll turn it over to you, Cade, if there's any, week 0, week 1 games. But the other one that I just wanted to mention, and I'm going to see if I can do this right, because I screwed it up the first time. So let's try it again. Let's see. There we go. There is a game that is taking place. It's South Florida. So this one really caught my eye. South Florida and Boise State. Now, this one is crazy to me for a couple of reasons. So if you look at this matchup, number one, again, starting with how the market has reacted, this line has absolutely just tanked in favor of South Florida. So if you look at kind of where this opened, it's crazy. So this game is on the 28th. So it's next Thursday. It's a 5:30 game, kind of a weird start time. But we open this game, Boise State, as high as -9.5. I mean, this is a pretty big opener. And if you look at the splits right now, the public is just hammering Boise State. They think this is a Boise State blowout win. So I'm looking at the splits right now where currently you are getting basically South Florida getting only 18% of tickets at Circa. They're only getting 27% of tickets at DraftKings on the spread. So both DraftKings and Circa, they cannot write enough tickets on Boise State. And again, Boise State, Ashton Genty, kind of this trendy team that like people want to bet no matter what because of the brand. And you're going to see this a lot in college football, where if there's a trendy team that your bias in your memory tells you, hey, this is a good club, versus UCF, USF, who's kind of struggled a bit in recent years. But trying to cut through the noise, I like South Florida in the points here. And again, and this sometimes happens where
Yeah.
you make a sharp bet, they get blown out, and the public will dance on your grave and say, "What an idiot! Boise was all like they're way better. They're going to kill them." So you got to be prepared if you're going to take these gross plays to say, "Hey, I might look like an idiot, but I feel like I am on the sharp side, not based on emotion, but based on what the numbers are telling me." So the fact that everyone's on Boise, again, you're looking at 73% of bets, 82% of spread bets across the market on Boise State. Yet this line is not like Boise State's not -9.5 up to -10, -11, -12. If that were the case, that's pretty standard. Heavy betting one side. Bookmakers have to adjust it upwards to make the team more expensive to play, and then also move the line to mitigate their liability and entice betting on the unpopular dog at a better price. That's not what's happened. This line is really tanked towards South Florida, even though they're really, really unpopular. Then I look at, and the other thing is shopping for the best price, because I think you can still get the hook on South Florida +6.5. But if you look at the predictions here from Rithmm, I mean, you're looking at Boise State winning the game, but by what, 5.4 points?
Five and some change, yeah.
Yeah, you look at the other one, and it's around that similar number. Obviously, 6 is a key number. 6.5 with the hook is important. But that's just one to me where, again, I'm trying to overlap what the betting market is doing with what Rithmm is recommending me to do. And again, these games are not what I would love to see, the little knife sign that's sharp and the green go sign that says this is a recommended play. But both my models are saying South Florida. They're saying it should be about a 5-point game. I can get 6.5. Yes, I'm not getting the best of the price because I could have gotten 9.5, but I can't. That's long gone. Are you going to play the game or not? If you are, I'm looking at the Bulls in this one plus the points. Cade, what's your model say for this one?
So I missed out big time on the opener for sure. I kind of waited too long because the lower that line got, I kind of leaned Boise State, but then I kind of dug a little bit deeper. Weather is supposed to be a huge factor in this with that hurricane inbound in South Florida area. There's supposed to be some heavy rain. It's weird to me because you look at Boise State, which is a team last year that relied so much on the running game and Ashton Genty in a general sense, where we have no idea what they're going to look like this year. And now everybody's kind of looking at like Maddox Madsen, and he's like, well, I don't know. And so now you're throwing the weather. I don't really expect them to air the ball out and thunderstorms. You know what I mean? So given the weather and the short points, I would still lean South Florida, but it's just too small of a number for me to bite. I do give USF some advantages in terms of scheme and to exploit Boise State's defense too. I think they might be able to run the ball over them, but I mean, it's a pass for me personally because I waited too long on it at this point. But yeah, my models initially, I mean, they like Boise State. Naturally, I guess I'm assuming why, because the line is so short. Former playoff team, I should say. High expectations this year as well, but I think they win. I just think it's closer than that. So,
yeah, and you bring up a really good point. Like, when has the line moved too much to the point where you feel like you're chasing it, you're getting the worst of it? I mean, a mentor of mine always told me, never get the worst of it and never be with the public. Like that. So you're not with the public. That's kind of a saving grace. Like if you do want to play South Florida, at least you're not getting the best of it anymore, but at least you're really, really against the masses. The total Cade, I don't know if you have like a total, what you have projected for this game, but
yeah,
you bring up the hurricane. And what's interesting to me is that the public at DraftKings is actually leaning under. It's very weird that the public leans under because there's the innate bias of wanting to root for points. It's much more fun if you're sitting down to root for touchdowns than, long drives, running the ball, missed kicks, all that kind of stuff. There's 62% of bets at DraftKings right now on the under. Now, I must admit, 92% of the money is on the under. So that would be a low bets, higher dollar split that would actually I would enjoy. But I wish it was 62% of bets on the over and 90% of bets, 90% of money in the under. You are getting a little bit of a public under. That being said, it is kind of pro and Joe. You're getting both sharp and regular money. But the other angle here is my weather report. You're totally right. Heavy rain, 85 degrees. It's not very windy. Usually with these hurricanes, you get like 10, 20 mile per hour winds. I'm seeing like 5 mile per hour winds. And I think a lot of people they think that if it's rainy, that means it's definitely going to go under. Where if you talk to a lot of bookmakers, it's more based on the wind and the
Definitely. Yeah.
precipitation.
hmm
So what's your number? Do you have any lean on the total here?
My model had 61.2. I know the numbers currently at like 64. A lot of it's 64 even flats around majority books right now. Some 63 and a halves. I think I would still take the under personally. I don't really think there's not a big enough gap for a play there for me. But like I said, when I have weather like that, however, if they keep buying into the under, say that number drops, say it gets to like maybe a 62 or maybe like a 60 flat or something like that on the other end there, might be able to buy back in. But yeah, I think I'm more of like in a monitoring position at this point. I don't want to like rush anything too much there, but my model's saying 61, around 61.3.
That's good to know. And also, like, I think there's the other angle of like when to place your bet. Like sometimes it can be somewhat, I'm not going to say it's easy because it's never easy, betting on sports, but sometimes it's easier to identify the side you like, but then it becomes a question of when do I bet it? Do I bet it now
Right.
because I feel like I'm getting the best of it? Do I say I should wait because, I want to, on the one hand, make sure I'm on the sharp side, let the bets develop. This is also, one big marker of the public is they tend to bet way closer to game time. Like sharps are hammering these numbers very early, sometimes at low limits, but because they have an edge. Whereas the public, they're probably not going to bet a lot of these games until the day of or the night before. So I would love to see where that late movement comes in. I love it when you have even a game you can look at it one of two ways. You bet a game and the late movement, I'm talking game day betting, last hour, last half hour is going in your direction. That's a great sign. Or if you didn't bet the game all week, but you're able to identify that late action, that's also a good sign that maybe you add a bet later. I'll flip it to you though, Cade. Are there any other games that you want to hit on? I have I have 2 NFL Week 1 early bets for me. We can go to NFL, or if you have any college you want to hit on, we can do that still.
I mean, I'm a college fanatic, but I mean, there's nothing really jaw-dropping enough to me in terms of a value standpoint. I don't think I'm going to be biting on UNLV against an FCS team in week 0 just yet, as much as I would love to. Don't get me wrong, but I think I'll hold off for now.
No, good point. Good point. So yeah, let's go to NFL then, because today was a huge day for Rithmm as the NFL models were all released. So if you log into your Rithmm account, and again, you can get 25% off with START25 promo code. You now have these beautiful predictions and these smart signals popping up for these games, which is pretty amazing. So now you can, I guess I jumped the gun. The smart signals might take a little more time, but the regular predictions are now available. We don't have the props yet, but we have the game bets. So I want to get your case on this one here. The Cowboys, the boys. And by the way, Cade, there's a great, I think it's Netflix. What is it? Jerry Jones, the better, and his Cowboys. Have you been watching that?
Phenomenal documentary.
Yeah. It's pretty legit. And Jerry Jones is like a character of himself. He's like, yeah, I had an oil rig and, we popped that ding down and oil starts spitting up. I said, there's $100 million. Like he's just like, he's kind of I don't know. He's got a different kind of reputation, but I find him hilarious anyway. But
oh, absolutely.
But thoughts on the first game here, because this is your literally first game, I believe, September 4th. So that's always your Thursday where typically the defending Super Bowl champ will host some kind of division rival. We got Dallas and Philly. So rivalry aspect certainly at play. From a market-based perspective, I might hold my nose and take the Cowboys in the points here. What I noticed that kind of across the market is, you open this game, Eagles laying 7. Now you still can kind of get a 7 across the market. There are a couple books where it's still available, but most books are down to 6.5. So again, the initial move, and we got to wait, to see if this, kind of continues or there's buyback. But the initial move was not further toward the Eagles, but down a little bit toward the boys. You look at the splits right now. Public, as you would expect, not afraid of the points. They're laying it with the Eagles right now at DraftKings. Nearly 2/3 of spread bets are laying it with Philadelphia, but yet the line dipped a little bit toward the Cowboys. A couple other angles I always like. Week 1 dogs, element of surprise. Public has waited all year to bet these favorites.
Absolutely.
Divisional dogs, Cade, those are always a go-to for me because of the familiarity. It levels the playing field. Primetime dog. Now, it wasn't last year. I'm an under and a dog guy in the NFL. last year was a really bad year. Favorites absolutely killed it. And it was like,
yeah.
yeah, it was like, I had PTSD from last year, Kate. It was just terrible. So I'm hoping there's just general regression back to dogs and unders. But one angle that I loved was primetime dogs. You get into the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, typically taking the points has been the sharp play long term or historically. Those are all adding up on Dallas. Maybe there's a letdown where Philly just won the Super Bowl. Maybe I'm reaching there. I don't know. But let's see what Rithmm has. This gets you excited. This is what I was looking for, a recommended play. So if you click these recommended tabs here, it'll give you some more info, quote unquote, from Rithmm. We analyze what your model says, the line, the historical data across sports and bet types to identify your best chance of winning. Bets we recommend are marked with green stars. So that's my first thing. It's not a caution flag. It's not a 50-50. It's not a, hey, you're not in the sweet spot, slow your roll. No, it's recommended. That tells me that a lot of the back end data from Rithmm, this Cowboys plus the points is kind of fit what Rithmm is looking for. And it's a high threshold too. We look at kind of the prediction here. You're looking at, if I'm doing my math right, 5.9, something like that. And you're getting 6.5. You can shop around and get a 7. I am looking toward the Cowboys in this spot. Now, I know a lot of people take the Eagles, tease the Eagles down, 6.5, down to a half point. They're going to be money line parlays. But then ask yourself, too, who are the books rooting for? Are the books rooting for Eagles? No, because everyone's playing the Eagles. They're rooting for the Cowboys. I want to be with the house. I want to be against the public. So am I crazy to take a chance on a +7 with the boys here, Cade? What do you think about this one?
I'm thinking that you're right. I like the idea of early divisional dogs specifically. We've seen them historically have great success in that kind of system. I'm not really in on the Cowboys period this year at all. I have their under win total as a matter of fact, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm in on Philly either. Overall, I mean, it kind of cancels each other out because you look at last year's matchups, obviously you didn't have Dak in either of those games though. What was 40 something to single? I think it was like 40-7 or something like that last year. And then when they get them in Dallas, they won like 30 to, I don't know. They didn't score a touchdown though. I know that for a fact. So I like the revenge angle of the divisional factor. I like the early division dog. Like you were mentioning, primetime dogs are always usually a good system to follow as well. But like I said, as much as I would love to be a part of that kind of number, I just don't know if I trust their defense enough, and kind of feels like I would be canceling out my win total. But I would, I guess I would if I had to, gun to my head.
Yeah, can you lose by 6 or less? For us,
right?
Crazy people who are gonna maybe like me take the points here. So
a backdoor is definitely a possibility as well, though. I mean, like if anything, like that would probably be the one that screws everybody over. That's usually what happens, if anything. So,
oh, definitely, yeah. Either breaks your heart or you're cheering for the backdoor. So always important. Our guy, football guy 9-7, same game tease. Cowboys up, total down, and take the over. Interesting. That definitely was something that, kind of has come through historically. And my own tease down, take over. My only angle there would be sometimes you see early in the season, like defense is ahead of the offense. Offense takes time to gel. That being said, Eagles are pretty, a lot of continuity, a lot of stability. So maybe that's mitigated a bit. But that's definitely one that caught my eye. And then just one other one I wanted to run by you, Cade, and then maybe we can wrap up or whatever you want to do. But it was the Colts game, because the Colts have been kind of a topic of conversation with Anthony Richardson, a top 5 pick that looks like he's probably a bust, but I would argue the Colts kind of screwed him up. He wasn't ready. They should have been patient. And, you're seeing that now. Daniel Jones looks like he's going to be the starter. But this game is interesting to me because the public is all over the Dolphins in this one. And I totally get it, down on the Colts based on, kind of the, just the weird quarterback situation. Tua, Tyreek Hill, you got a lot of star players that the public's attracted to with Miami. But if you kind of look at the way the market has reacted to this one, it's kind of shown liability on Indy the whole time. Like Indy opened this game -1.5.
Yeah.
At one point they were even as low as -1. They're still 1.5. I see one book at 2. Some books are juiced up -1.5, -115 toward Indy. And that really is important to me because at DraftKings right now, public is all over Miami. You're getting 71% of spread bets on the Dolphins. So if the majority of tickets are on Miami, why isn't this game down to a pick 'em? Why hasn't it hopped the fence and gone to Miami -1.5? It's pretty much line free stayed where it's at on Indy. So that's kind of a fade the trendy dog. Again, I like the gross dogs, the hazmat dogs, the ones that no one wants to believe in because those are typically the ones that have the most value. When a dog becomes popular, the public's loving because typically the public is, again, geared toward favorites, the better team. If I'm going to lose, at least I can say I took the better team. That's kind of a public mindset. So when a dog gets popular, they become trendy. I want to bet against them. Looks like Miami's a trendy dog. And then if I look at the Rithmm model here, Rhythm's got them winning 25-22, 2.8, almost a 3-point spread. I'm looking toward money lining the Colts here, Cade. Like, again, I don't want to see a Daniel Jones get, a safety or something that's weird happens that screws this thing up. And you're really not laying a very terrible price. Like, what are they, -125 on the money line?
Yep.
I'm looking at the Colts here, and I like that Rithmm is recommending the Colts to me. What do you think about this one?
I like the thought of everybody kind of questioning why the Colts, because as they have a valid point. I mean, they have a healthy offense this year. I mean, when you have Tua, that's actually healthy for now, I should say. Then you look at, but Daniel Jones is starting, blah, 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 blah. I like the idea of a home field starting out on your home field week 1 with a short line like this, given the previous season as well. I think it's kind of like a bounce back year, in my opinion. I am higher on the Colts, I guess I should say, this season in general. This one's iffy, though. I don't have necessarily any angle in this game quite yet. Because I was more still monitoring from this far out. But I mean, as of right now, if I had to, yeah, I do like the Colts. I have liked the Colts since it opened. I do agree with that. My models are around the same though. Literally at a 1.2 difference right now. So yeah, I'm in the same boat, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, and again, preface all this with the fact that we still got to get through preseason week 3. There's cut down days coming. Then you got a week off until, there's a lot, in a way, the NFL season is right in front of us, but in another way, it's like, we still got to be a little patient because again, things can change. Let's see that line. You'd hate to see you lay a 1.5 or the money line with the Colts and then they're down to a pick 'em give like 2 weeks from now. So I'll let it kind of develop a bit, but as of right now, to me, Colts are kind of a good buy low spot in week 1.
I do like their offseason additions as well better than I think Miami's. I think a lot of their Colts younger guys is going to step up and play a bigger factor, specifically on the defensive side. They have a lot of good DBs. They added a really talented defensive tackle from Ohio State and JT. I like the way they're set up this year, definitely.
Yeah, and they seem to always be competitive. I like their coach too. I think he's pretty good. So,
of course, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see how that develops. But yeah, my man, Cade, I think we got the first episode in the books here. So I'll kind of just thank everyone for tuning in. Remember, don't grade us on this first stream. This is like our preseason too. So, we gotta kind of, I gotta master the screen sharing. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure you download Rithmm. If you want to give it a shot and keep it, you can get that 25% off. Just use the promo code START25. And we're going to do this every Thursday. So again, this is a kind of just getting our preseason reps in now. But before you know it, we'll be able to do every Thursday night. Get ready for the Thursday night football game in the NFL. There'll be college games. And we'll run through all the games, and you'll get this kind of analysis from myself and Cade. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Cade, any final thoughts for the crew? I'm excited to work with you this year, buddy.
We get to watch football this weekend, man. Are we?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, come on now. Yeah, we're good. I'm stoked. This is going to be phenomenal. Next few months, we get to do this over the course of the entire football season. So yeah, super stoked.
Nice. Well, thank you all. Shout out to our guy Parker. You don't see him here, but he has been hard at work making us look good because I'm an idiot and I don't understand technology. So thank you, Parker. Thank you to Megan and Brian. And yeah, download Rithmm. Tell your friends about Rithmm. Give them a 5-star review in the App Store. Use that promo code STAR25. And we will see you guys next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Take care, everybody.